Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are live for Financial Fitness Friday. I am here with my co-host Dave. Dave, what's going on, brother?
Jonathan, I am fantastic, brother. How are you? Good to see you.
Likewise. So, I want to talk a little bit about one of the biggest tools that you have to use, and when you use it properly, you can actually build real wealth, which is your credit. Okay. So, Dave is a credit expert. I know a little bit myself. So I want to ask Dave a couple questions. Maybe you can talk about some trends, maybe some best practices about credit, because without credit, it's going to be very hard for you to buy things using other people's money, like a home, like a business, like equipment, any of the things that you need to grow and build a business or build wealth. So that being said, Dave, take us through like what trends are you seeing in credit right now?
I think one in the most common sense, even if you're not versed in it, is mass amounts of defaulting, mass amounts of credit card debt. It is absurd. It's hard to keep track of that number because it gets worse literally.
One point no 1.13 trillion.
And it's probably increased 100 million since that data because it's literally getting worse every single day. One thing, whether that's calculated or not, that I don't know, could be business credit involved in that too, right? If it's just a landscape of personal or business credit card debt, but that's a problem. That tells it's two sides of the.
What does that say to you? What does that say to you, Dave?
Well, that's what I was going to say. It says two things. Either the one, it could be really bad habits, right? Do we really know that? I mean, poor credit's always kind of been a bad habit, but a number that high, that tells me there's an income problem. So there's an income problem in the average household. I've seen
Right.
it all over the years, man. Like credit doesn't discriminate. Even if you make six figures, right? You can say, hey, tone down your lifestyle or whatever and all that stuff.
Wait,
But
wait, hold on. Can I
yeah,
read that a completely different way? Because I'm
sure.
I'm kind of glad we actually don't see that the same.
Okay,
Not
awesome. How
even
do you?
close. I think I so it's income is part of the equation. Okay, income is absolutely part of the equation, but that's not what's happening there. But I think you're trying to say this, and correct me if I'm there.
Sure.
It's not so much income, okay? It is the cost of living versus what people are earning, okay? Has obviously the cost of living has gone exponentially up. People's earnings have not gone up at the same pace. And so what is happening is that is eliminating a lot of discretionary income. If you ask anybody that is not in a service based business, that is not a necessity, okay? Discretionary income is at a very, very all time low. So what's happening is the average person can't fucking afford groceries, can't afford rent, can't, or they're living paycheck to paycheck. So any emergencies or any other things that they need, guess what? They're throwing on a credit card.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
100%, brother.
And more sense. There was a stat. I think I forgot who said it. It might have been Andy. It might have been one of the economists I listened to. That there's like something like 30% of the people making over six figures a year are living paycheck to paycheck right now.
I think it was both of them actually, ironically, on both of their most recent podcasts that they said that. And that's what I mean by an income problem. Like, it can't keep up with inflation, with all this money being printed, all this debt created by the government. It's
Yeah.
funny how it correlates. It stems back to leadership. You got a country that doesn't know how to manage money properly. What do you think is going to happen to most of its people? They're not going to know how to manage money either. But
Of course.
yeah, but in that terms, man, I mean, that's the main thing, right? Is that people can't keep up.
Yeah.
That's where the shortage of income comes because everything else is ridiculously inflated or overinflated. That's the one thing. The other thing is you can tell that there's a credit crunch,
Yeah.
and you know why do I tell you this? I get pre-approval offers all the time, and I'm not
Okay.
getting many frequently, right? from my existing companies or my creditors that I do business with now, and I'm speaking from a credit card perspective.
Yep.
I'm not getting any 0% offers. That happened 2 years ago, right? When the interest rates started climbing, they stopped doing that. Usually I'd get one a quarter. I'm not getting any now. So that's telling me that they don't trust what's going on right now. They know that more defaults are going to happen.
Yep.
Another thing, go ahead.
No, you go. I'm sorry. Keep going. I like this.
Yeah.
Feeding everything.
Yeah, I like to look in those little small details. And the reason why I talk about credit cards so much is because that is the foundation of your credit score, believe it or not. You know, there's still so many people out there today. I don't want a credit card. I don't want to be responsible for it. But you have to understand it's 30% of your credit score, whether you like it or not. Okay. So what did we talk about? We talked about 0% offers. We talked about pre-approval letters in the mail. The next one is that they're frequently doing soft credit checks more often to see where your current credit status stands. And if you are pushing those limits to max out or are close, they will do something pretty shitty. If you ask me, they will drop your limit to your balance that you owe and basically almost forcefully close that account. And why does that
destroy your credit? Destroy it.
Yeah, because what you're doing is, and I don't think people understand this either. Like, number one, you're either going to close the account, right? Which you're going to lose that entire history of that card, the payment history, its limit. You're going to lose all that data, so your score is going to go down. Now, if they keep it open, which ideally is what you want, what's going to happen even worse if they drop the limit? Well, it's going to forcefully max your credit card out.
Yep.
Right. That 30% usage, well, maxed out, it's going to tank your score either way. So technically, it's a lose-lose situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't give you the opportunity to get out of that hole, whether to, take a personal loan. I had somebody ask me yesterday about refinancing their house. I don't like that idea.
No, never for business. Never for business. You do not tie your personal assets to your business.
To pay off debt either. So you're going to refinance your house for 15, 20, 30 years for debt that
at a higher rate.
Exactly. That you're never going to see that money back. And the last thing that was alarming, dude. I got a letter from Home Depot the other day. I love that card. I'm not a fan of store cards, but I love that because I use it. They give 0% for every, $200 to $500 to $1,000. They give you 0% interest. That's not the point. I get a letter stating yesterday, and I have great credit, right? Stating that as of, I believe the date was March 1st or March 15th, that the APR on that card is going up to 29.9.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Well, here, let me backtrack a little bit because I want to comment on a couple things you said because it matters. Most people aren't going to remember or even know that this happened, but the last time that people were doing more soft checks on lines of credit and credit cards, okay, and they were shutting or closing limits or reducing limits or shutting lines entirely was in 2007, 2008, 2009.
Yep.
Okay. That's when they were really, really doing that. There was no other time they were doing that. Okay. Number two, what I see in business, I am seeing sector or industry by industry have like rolling recessions. Okay. Right now, services businesses are pretty good. Most businesses that rely on discretionary income are not doing very well. Okay. That is a very, very tough market to be in right now. And what I'm seeing on the business side, at least for certain lines of credit, certain working capital lines, and some equipment, is that they're moving their guidelines. Okay. And so what happens is when they anticipate these things happening, they move their credit requirements. They move up their time and business requirements. So if you were able to get approved at a year in business, or let's say 2 years in business, it might be 3 or it might be 4 or 5. Okay. It depends on the industry. It depends on the program. And so when you're seeing this, it means that there is a liquidity contraction. Okay. And when that happens, you're always going to be operating in a tougher environment because cash is not flowing as freely. Okay. And that's why you're starting to see all the credit cards rocket up. And so what's going to happen is you're going to see massive, massive defaults there. You're going to see massive defaults in commercial That's going to bring the banks down, at least the local and regional banks. Okay. So you're starting to see all these things position themselves. Most people don't even realize this is going on. And you're combining this with a weaker US dollar, which is not particularly great for us. Okay. So it's operating very lean, both business wise and professionally wise, while trying to deliver the absolute most value you can to your clients and continue to build through this environment. That's really all you can do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like it's
yeah, that perspective of looking at like how the financial system is working. It's a house of cards, man.
yeah.
You know, like they can't even control their own shit. You know, like and we're supposed to rely on that, you know. And again, going back to talks that we've had of other forms of currency or assets, right? That's why they frown upon that, you know, because it's hey, this thing could collapse at any second, you know. So I think the big thing is, and I know, dude, like it's crazy because we're in a massive momentum shift right now with us. You know, people are looking to get their credit right. A lot of things that's refreshing to see. It's not because of houses, it's people are looking to take control of their own shit, right? Like, hey man, I want to start a business or I want to borrow money. I want to do something. And every time that shift has happened, it's pretty much been the last 2 years. And I see it with you. Like when you send people over, it's like, oh, people are looking to borrow money. When the housing market sucks, the business side of things tend to go up. You know, so it's my theory is like, look, get your credit right, man. And it's like the argument for a gun. It's better to have it and not need it, right, than to need it and not have it. And that's the same thing with credit, like, or getting a line of credit, getting some financing in place. Look, if you need money, or actually if you don't need money, go get it. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because it's better to have that shit in place when you do need it, right? And be like, holy shit, man, I need $100,000 right now. And then you can't get it.
Yep. And hey, you might know a guy. You might know somebody.
Hey, I know a guy. All right.
You know a guy.
He's a good guy too. Most of the time.
I try to be. Wise, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. No, the reality is, guys, this is everyone needs to lock in, right? That's the reality. Okay. You lock in, you build, you grind, you find ways to deliver as much value as you can, and you operate lean. And if you guys can do that now, what happens on the other side of this shit is pretty epic. It's just getting through it, you know, and it's getting through it while you're still improving. And if you're somebody that's sitting there and you don't see a lot of opportunities, you don't see a lot of paths forward, what you really need to do is focus on skills and skill development. Okay. And I can't stress that enough. I stress it with my internal team. I stress it with my external team. I stress it with all my partners. The best thing you can do for yourself, especially when things aren't clear, is get really, really good at building skills, giving yourselves more opportunities to provide massive value, either as an entrepreneur or as an intrapreneur, guys. That's the path forward if you feel stuck. Okay. See what's really in demand, learn it, master it, and go provide that. All right. I hope this helped you guys. This was a really fun Financial Fitness Friday for us, or for me anyway. All right. So please share this with someone that needs to hear it, and we will catch you on the next one. Take care, guys.
For real. Ding, ding, ding.